Well, hi, folks. I'm Chris Dorr. I'm the director here for Tennessee Gun Owners. And in this short video, I'm going to go over the two candidates who are running to be your next state representative right there in House District 18 in Knox County. I'm going to go over the Republican. She's Elaine Davis. She's the Republican incumbent. She's running for re-election. We have some votes that we can talk to you about her. But first of all, we're going to talk about the Democrat challenger here, Bryan Goldberg, who's trying to take out Elaine Davis and whittle in against the pro-gun majority in Nashville. So there's a lot on the line in these elections. I don't think I need to sit here and tell anybody that, but if you're pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment, pro-family, pro-life, pro-closed borders, you don't like having your vote get watered down by criminal aliens, you're going to want to watch this video. There's a lot on the line in these elections now, and who we pick to represent us in Nashville and in Congress is so much more important than ever before. We certainly need fighters, not bench warmers, because we believe the radical left when they tell us all the things that they want to do. So we're going to start off, again, I'm just going to put the I there by Elaine so we remember that she's the incumbent. But I'm going to first of all talk about Bryan Goldberg in this election. You know, they say in politics that you can know a lot about a person by who their friends are, and that's actually true in life. But one thing I didn't put on here is that this guy is endorsed by Bloomberg. Sorry, I forgot to put that on there. So we're going to change to the red pen here first and foremost. He's endorsed by Michael Bloomberg. Folks, Michael Bloomberg is the godfather of gun control in America. He is financing the gun control movement at both the federal level and the state level. He is the guy who got behind the huge effort to pass red flag gun confiscation after the Nashville church shooting, the Nashville church school shooting in 2023. So that means that Bryan Goldberg endorses a lot of Bloomberg's gun control issues. So let's take a look at it. First and foremost here, number one, Bryan Goldberg supports universal gun registration. Folks, the universal gun registration gives the state and the government the ability to track, trace, and register gun owners like they're some kind of sex offenders. And of course, the reason the question that most people ask themselves, well, why? Because I want you to know this one thing about Bryan Goldberg here. This bill, and I'm going to give him a red X on his scorecard here. This bill does not apply to criminals. It does not apply to killers or thieves or rapists or murderers. And so you have to ask yourself, well, why would Bryan Goldberg be pushing a gun control bill that doesn't even apply to the criminals? And the criminals, by the way, it doesn't apply to them because they'll never line up and register their firearms or their knives or whatever. Why is he doing it? Well, it's very obvious. All you have to do is turn on the television. You will hear Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Beto O'Rourke back in the day when the Democrats used to hold primaries in order to figure out who was going to be the Democrat nominee. He stood right there on the debate stage and said, hell yes, we're going to take your guns. Joe Biden says it. Kamala Harris says it. We're going to do mandatory gun buybacks. Folks, that is gun confiscation. That's why they want a gun registry. Gun confiscation, that's what they want to do. That's what they've told us. They can't do it unless they know who owns what guns. That's what Bryan Goldberg's universal gun registration is all about. He supports red flag gun confiscation. That's another red X on your record there, buddy. Red flag gun confiscation, we all know what that is now after we had to defeat that bill in Nashville back in 2023. And red flag laws are simply the destruction of due process rights for gun owners. It allows anybody to petition a judge to have your firearms taken away from you without you ever being charged, tried, or convicted of a crime. And the bill that Bryan Goldberg wants to pass makes it so that somebody who is trying to get a red flag order against you, they can enter as evidence in the ex parte hearing that you recently acquired a firearm as proof that you should have your firearms taken away from you. Literally, Goldberg here wants to make it so that if you exercise your right, that's legal justification to take that right away. That's insane, but that's Bryan Goldberg here. Another thing I'll mention about red flags before we move on, these things have been particularly weaponized in the states that have already passed red flag laws by people who are in child custody court or divorce court. Let's say you have an ex that's trying to win custody. For them to go out and get one of these red flags and tack that onto your record gins up huge support for their child custody court case. So that's the way it's being weaponized right now today. Let's talk about mandatory gun lockups. Bryan Goldberg, of course, supports this, and and Kamala Harris herself, a video came out from her a couple of days ago. They want to pass these mandatory gun lockup laws so that they can, quote, invade the sanctity of your home. That's Kamala Harris's words, not mine, and do government gun inspections. Literally, they want to violate your constitutional right to be securing your person from unreasonable searches and seizures. They want to have access to your home to inspect your guns. And keep in mind, we looked back, we couldn't find anywhere where Bryan Goldberg had opposed his party's withdrawal from Afghanistan and leaving real military weapons on the streets of Afghanistan for the Taliban to come in and then use against our former allies in that country. No. Safe storage? That's what they call them. They call them safe storage laws. They're mandatory gun lockups. We also never saw Bryan Goldberg say anything about against what's his name, Eric Holder, when he was running machine guns to the Mexican drug cartels that were later used against American citizens and Border Patrol agents. But that's the way it is with these people. Goldberg supports repealing the constitutional carry law that's on the books. This is not a controversial issue anymore, but people like Bryan Goldberg are viciously opposed to it. They want to make it as easy as possible for criminals to do their dirty work, but as hard as possible for law-abiding citizens to simply exercise their right of self-defense. Constitutional carry is on the books in 29 other states. It simply gets government out of the rights regulation business. Bryan Goldberg wants to heavily regulate rights, particularly the right to defend yourself. That's Bryan Goldberg. He wants to repeal Tennessee. Oh, I forgot to give him an X there. He wants to repeal Tennessee's self-defense laws. These people literally want it. Bryan Goldberg literally wants it so that if you're ever in one of those awful situations where you have to defend yourself, he wants you to be able to prove later on in court that you tried to get away from your killer or rapist or kidnapper before taking action to defend yourselves. This is an old communist idea. Bryan Goldberg supports it. He wants the Tennessee law to favor the criminal instead of the citizen. It's so humiliating, but that's what Bryan Goldberg wants. He supports banning AR-15s, not just AR-15s. He wants to ban Ruger 1022s, Remington 1187 shotguns, the Glock 43X that you carry to defend yourself and your kids. My wife carries one too. He wants all of that stuff banned. Why? Well, it's very simple. Firearms are excellent tools to tell tyrants no. In the 20th century alone, an estimated easy 100 million innocent citizens were murdered worldwide by their governments. Okay, when the left tries to frame the Second Amendment as a hunting issue, they're trying to do that so that you're distracted from the fact that killer criminals are bad, but killer governments are far worse, and our founding fathers knew that. That's why they codified the Second Amendment in the Bill of Rights. That's where Bryan Goldberg is, folks. So I'm going to give him a great big fat F rating. This guy has earned every little bit of it. That's Bryan Goldberg. Let's talk about Elaine Davis for a minute, because I want to end this video on a good note. Elaine Davis, this lady right here. First of all, whoops, need to fix that. I meant to say TGO right there. She filled out her Tennessee gun owners survey 100% pro-gun. All right. She went on record as an incumbent legislator. A lot of incumbent legislators are like, who cares? I don't need to prove myself anymore. Not Elaine. She filled out her survey 100% and said, I'm going to do all these different things if you guys reelect me. That's fantastic. She's a no on universal gun registration. She's a no on red flag gun confiscation. She's a no on banning AR-15. She's a yes on this one. This is a fantastic bill right here, by the way. SAPA, the Second Amendment Protection Act. Representative Brian Ritchie was the bill sponsor for it last time around. I don't know who's going to be the sponsor for it this time around, but this bill simply says that Tennessee law enforcement, which Tennessee taxpayers pay for to uphold Tennessee laws, they can't be commandeered by the feds, the ATF, to enforce federal gun laws or gun control laws. That's fantastic. A lot of people sit there and they ask us, they're like, how can we push back against this federal tyranny? Well, the way to do that is for the state of Tennessee to do it, not for any individual to do it. The state of Tennessee passing a SAPA law would be huge, huge defense of Tennessee gun owners. She said yes on overhauling the self-defense laws and constitutional carry things. There's the meat and potatoes are already passed. We got to do some cleanup work there. So not only that, I got some awesome additional information right here. She voted yes on Senate Bill 1325. It's qualified teacher carry. If you can get qualified and train, all that different stuff. We want schools are where Tennesseans send their most valuable possessions, for lack of a better word, and their kids, right? We want the coaches and the teachers and anybody who's qualified to be able to pull out a gun and end the threat that's happening as quickly as possible. We already trust those people. That's where we send our kids, after all. Let's just make sure that some of the people in there that are qualified and get the training are able to be the first responders instead of waiting minutes when moments are very precious. She voted yes on that. She voted yes on House Bill 2882. That required a firearms course be taught in Tennessee public schools. She also voted yes on House Bill 1189 that established in protections for firearms and ammo dealers because the radical left wants to do exactly that. They want to be able to litigate these people out of existence. Elaine Davis here, fabulous. She voted for all that stuff, and she promised right here to be a no on all of the gun control. So, folks, that's the difference between these two candidates. There's a lot on the line in these elections. My whole life, everybody always said, "Oh, this is the most important election of our lifetime." I think we're getting there. There's the radical left isn't making an effort to attempt to hide what they want to do to people like you and me anymore. So I want to come on here, shoot this video so you guys know exactly the difference between these two candidates, so you guys can make a better choice about who you want representing you. A lot of people ask us, they say, "Hey, TGO, who should I vote for here?" We can't tell you that. We can come here and give you guys this information so you guys can make your own decisions about who you want representing you. Last but not least, I would ask that you folks share this video with all of your pro-gun friends, family, loved ones, neighbors, co-workers, church members, your barbershop guys, your old grade school. You understand. With so much on the line, we can't leave anything to chance. So I'm asking you guys to round up your friends, and on November 5th, head down to those polls and vote pro-gun.